they've gotten the price of the vehicles down to kind of no-brainer levels from a competitive standpoint. You know, they've got the base Model 3 sedan now is at $39,000 or under $39,000, you know, which is $9,000 less than the average car purchase price in the United States, and right there with a Toyota Corolla. All of a sudden, what, you know, 4 or 5 years ago was a luxury kind of neat to have gimmicky type of thing to own a Tesla, and it was very expensive, is now, you know, right there on par with buying a Toyota Corolla. And who would have thought that we could get there? You know, this is a massive, massive move from a company that gets most of its purchases through online channels, especially Tesla.com. So seeing those web visits at all-time highs in reaction to these price cuts tells us Tesla is creating basically a one-horse race and expanding the lead in the EV market, and now is just becoming a matter of time, we think, before it's just the dominant automotive company, period. I really think of Tesla as one of the biggest, greatest artificial intelligence plays there is. The computing power that they're amassing, the data that they're amassing, pretty much unrivaled among certainly any automotive companies. It could be unrivaled across the world, except for maybe Microsoft and Google. There's a lot of ways for this company to make money that don't rely on selling a car for more than it costs to produce. And they're even winning at that. And so I think from a long-term perspective, this is kind of one of those companies where I think the Tesla Q folks have folded and are out of the game at this point. I would at least hope.
This guy gets it. One of the most incredibly well-informed guests I've seen in the finance media discussing Tesla.
Now, I'd like to bring in our cash tag segment, and for that, I would like to bring in Mr. Andy Swan. He's the co-founder of Likefolio.com, and we're talking Tesla. Andy, you know what I love the most? Is when Likefolio reaches out with data that you guys have, because I know it's something good when you do that. So you came to us with the idea of Tesla today, so I'm excited to hear what you guys are talking about. What do you have for our viewers in Tesla?
Yeah, you know, Tesla reports earnings next week, and we're not sure how that will go. We think that'll go okay. There's some delivery problems in China, some production problems that I think are already baked into the cake. But from a long-term perspective, you know, we just have to say that Tesla looks to be firing on all cylinders, and there's really one big reason for that, and that is they've gotten the price of the vehicles down to kind of no-brainer levels from a competitive standpoint.
A couple of things. First of all, we heard Tesla earnings next week, but from a long-term perspective, clearly this guy gets it. More importantly, he follows up that Tesla has now driven their prices down to a point where, kind of, what do I say? Oh, that's right. Consumers would require brain damage not to buy one. Now, the caveat, of course, if you don't have the budget to buy a Tesla in the first place, you're out. But if you do have the budget and you're looking at a comparable ICE vehicle now, and you buy the ICE vehicle instead of a Tesla, either A, you didn't do your homework, or B, you did do your homework and you're a moron. Now, this is just true. I'm not trying to be obnoxious here. I'm just trying to describe the situation. The best features, functionality, performance, efficiency, total cost of ownership, technology, safety, and it's good for the environment. I mean, bro, again, this is the point. This is 100% in line with Tesla's mission. Drive the prices of the vehicles down, improve the features, make them so compelling and so affordable, consumers will literally require brain damage not to buy one. This whole thing will happen to EVs in general over the next few years, maybe 3-5 years. But Tesla is years ahead of the competition in terms of pricing, costs, and features and performance. So there, wait for it, leading the charge. This is a very important point. Guest here gets it. He just called it a no-brainer. Slightly less obnoxious way of saying the same thing I've been saying for a long time.
You know, they've got the base Model 3 sedan now is at $39,000 or under $39,000. You know, which is $9,000 less than the average car purchase price in the United States, and right there with a Toyota Corolla.
That's right. Entry-level Model 3, $9,000 cheaper than the average new vehicle purchase price in the United States last year. $9,000 cheaper. And guess what? It's going to get cheaper over time. It ain't done.
In terms of, you know, from a competitive standpoint, all of a sudden, what, you know, 4 or 5 years ago was a luxury kind of neat to have gimmicky type of thing to own a Tesla, and it was very expensive, is now, you know, right there on par with buying a Toyota Corolla. And who would have thought that we could get there?
For what it's worth, Tesla not only thought that they could get there, but told us that they would get there. Shout out to their mission statement. You guys know, right? I'm sure there's 12 new people here, so hi if you're new, welcome. Tesla will not stop making their products better and more affordable as they scale up. This is how they sell 20+ million vehicles per year. This is just the beginning, the tipping point, certainly, in terms of being cheaper now than the average new vehicle price by a meaningful amount, but they're not going to stop there.
You can see the drastic price cuts that Tesla has been able to put out there really matches up really nicely with the cost of ownership. You know, interest rates have gone up considerably, so leasing or purchasing a car on a loan has gotten significantly more expensive. And so what Tesla has done is combated that through price cuts. And I think they're going to be able to maintain their margins while they do that. And the response from the consumer that we've seen to these price cuts has been extraordinary. You know, web visits to Tesla.com are up 59% year over year to all-time highs.
Well, isn't that interesting? Visits to Tesla.com up 59% year over year. Must be their new advertising campaign. Wait, what?
You know, this is a massive, massive move from a company that gets most of its purchases through online channels, especially Tesla.com. So seeing those web visits at all-time highs in reaction to these price cuts tells us Tesla is creating basically a one-horse race and expanding the lead in the EV market, and now is just becoming a matter of time, we think, before it's just the dominant automotive company, period.
So on screen now, this is super embarrassing for the advertising is the only way to sell vehicles, folks, and pricing doesn't make a difference. What happened in January 2023? Spoiler alert. As you can see on screen now, massive global price cuts across the board on Tesla's big volume vehicles, 3 and Y. Huge discounts, anywhere from 4% or so off to as much as 20% discounts. It seems like if you make your compelling products more affordable, many more people will investigate them. This is data, not an opinion. We can see on screen now. Just year over year, visits to Tesla website, 90-day moving average, up about 60%. This, despite the most dire, difficult, challenging environment for the automotive industry in the last 15 years.
I love the point, Andy, and you can feel the pressure being exerted from Tesla right now, making these decisions to move prices lower from strength, not necessarily from weakness, although you'll read that they're trying to spur demand, but your data certainly suggesting different. I've read a lot about them maybe deploying, and they've been disruptors in many ways in this space, and the model of which you do business with them, very different than traditional autos. But this idea of the razor blade model, do you see anything in that where they're not necessarily even seeing the car possibly as the driver of actual bottom line earnings, but rather all the things that you can add to it, all the technologies they're working on, and this becoming more of almost a software or service-like company in the long term?
Yeah, you can really feel that. You know, I feel that as a Tesla owner. When you get into the car, every couple of weeks that's downloaded an update that makes your car even better at driving 79 miles an hour through traffic and going, you know, off the exits at the right time and making the turns all on its own. And I just think to myself, if a company can pull off that with me, you know, and my family sitting in the car and do that safely, then what can't they achieve from a software and artificial intelligence perspective? So I really think of Tesla as one of the biggest, greatest artificial intelligence plays there is. The computing power that they're amassing, the data that they're amassing, pretty much unrivaled among certainly any automotive companies. It could be unrivaled across the world, except for maybe Microsoft and Google.
This is music to my ears. A well-informed guest discussing Tesla, recognizing the AI opportunity, and not just in the little automotive, maybe they're a little bit hit note. Globally, one of the world's most exciting, compelling, and biggest AI companies, period, up there with the biggest of the big. The dude's come with a lot of facts and a very good perspective. Why is it we never see him on CNBS?
The drum I beat whenever we talk about Tesla is the pipeline, right? And Cathie Wood came out with a statement that is quite incredible. She said by 2027, their move into autonomous driving, right? They'll make more money from autonomous driving by 2027, not that far away, than they do from EVs, with margins of over 50%, Andy. Like I said, what would frighten me if I was ever a Tesla bear would be the pipeline and what's next and what's coming, like the robo-taxi, right, which is supposed to dominate their earnings in the future, Andy.
Yeah, you know, I think Cathie Wood is an excellent, I think she has excellent visionary qualities. I think her date may be a little aggressive. You know, I'll tell you, as someone who uses the autonomous driving of Tesla all the time, I'm constantly having to turn it off in certain situations, certain weather conditions. It's making leaps and bounds of progress, but the idea that people will be getting into these without anybody in the driver's seat just a few years from now, I think is very aggressive and very optimistic.
Once again, I'm putting it on the record. I think the first Tesla robotaxis, late 2024. Could be wrong, probably will be wrong. Question is, how wrong will I be? And more important than that, how long until another company has an extremely competent, capable, comparable, generalized solution that can also roll out globally? If the answer is more than about 6 months away, Tesla's going to run away with this one big time. And remember, this is a $10 trillion opportunity.
But I do think it will happen, and I think that the trajectory of the prediction is correct. And so you think about that, you think about the AI infrastructure that they're building, the computing power that they're building, you know, the mapping technology. There's a lot of ways for this company to make money that don't rely on selling a car for more than it costs to produce. And they're even winning at that. And so I think from a long-term perspective, this is kind of one of those companies where I think the Tesla Q folks have folded and are out of the game at this point. I would at least hope.
Wouldn't be so sure about those folks. They're all psychological anomalies, either with a humiliation fetish, a desire to destroy their capital along with their reputation, a pathological hatred for anyone who's accomplished anything in life because it reflects poorly on their own lack of accomplishment, or some combination thereof. Of course, you'd think that any rational person would realize shorting Tesla is never a wise thing, but some people just like getting their face ripped off repeatedly, it seems.
that this is either, you know, I'm in it because I'm bullish, or I'm waiting to get in it because the price could drop in the near term. But I think those are the kind of the two only, you know, acceptable outlooks, at least from a Likefolio perspective.
You know, Andy, that kind of goes along the lines of sort of my final comment / question for you. So one of the phrases I heard when I first got in this business is, never fade a superstar. That doesn't stop at just trading or investing, goes to sports and everything. Yep. When you're looking at this, I think it's hard to not think of Elon Musk with that entrepreneurial mindset, that willing to disrupt, is anything other than a superstar at this point when it came to what they've created at Tesla. But as an entrepreneur yourself and someone who's constantly looking at ways to disrupt it and think outside the box, is there any other company that's achieved this level of scale and size that still thinks that way on a daily basis? You said Apple, but Apple's still such a machine and they're doing things so methodically, it doesn't feel like they're changing the world anymore. They just impact the world. Tesla seemingly is still changing and disrupting on a daily basis.
Yeah, I don't think we've really seen, you know, and I think Apple, when Steve Jobs was still at the helm, felt that way. I think there is a connection between having the founder, or at least, you know, in Elon's case, the very early, you know, kind of lifetime CEO of the company, still involved and still with that visionary spirit rather than the financial, you know, implications type of methodical approach that you're talking about. So I don't think that we've ever seen a company that got to these levels that still had that, you know, inquisitive, optimistic, change the world type of founder mentality since we had Steve Jobs at Apple. I think that's the best analogy I can come up with. And I agree with you. You don't bet against Tesla. Look, Tesla's a very volatile stock. So the idea that it could fall 40% over the next 6 months is very, very real. So people need to understand they're still taking a considerable risk buying Tesla at any price level if their outlook is near term or if their exit is near term. But I think long term, if we look at Tesla and think, hey, anytime I see 40%, 30% off of highs, I might dip my toes in and buy a few more shares. I think it's probably a good overall outlook.
No question, Tesla stock is and continues to remain an extremely volatile stock. I'm not waiting around for dips to buy. I just buy when I have cash. Seems to be working out okay. I've been doing that since early 2016. If I had a time machine, I'm sure I'd like to sit around and wait and time my purchases at the perfect moment. But I don't have a time machine, just a thesis about Tesla's future valuation based on their cash flows. And in my opinion, it has been dirt cheap. The best risk-adjusted opportunity in the entire stock market that I'm aware of since I began buying. And that has not changed, regardless of where Tesla stock was at my time of purchase. And to the point about Tesla being extremely innovative, maintaining this ability to think, to push boundaries, to redefine, reinvent, or even just invent new categories, technologies, products at their scale, this is unprecedented. Tesla's DNA as a company is unlike anything else that I'm aware of other than, wait for it, SpaceX, for a company that's doing billions in annual revenue.
Yeah, it's interesting. Changing the world has growing pains, right? And and Tesla is so far ahead of everyone else. And I got one two-word example: charging stations, right? They are the clear leader. Where now the legacy automakers are using Tesla to charge their electric vehicles. It's nothing short of spectacular. Andy Swan, thanks for coming on. I knew you'd deliver the goods, Andy, today. Thanks for coming on as always. Have a great day.
You too. Appreciate it.
Tell you what, Andy certainly did deliver the goods. Incredibly well informed. Made a lot of excellent points. Has a lot of compelling insight about Tesla, the future of the company, and the fact that they're anything but just a car company, the AI potential. And while we may disagree with some of the smaller details like timing around robotaxi, which admittedly I do have an optimism bias, so take it with a grain of salt, we saw some incredible data. Tesla's new vehicle prices, entry-level Model 3 now, significantly more affordable than the average transaction price on a new vehicle in the United States. And Tesla prices will continue to come down. And stunningly, it turns out that if you make your products more affordable and continue to make them more compelling, more people buy them. More people check them out. More people learn about them, as we saw with the data of Tesla's website visits. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like word spreads without Tesla themselves needing to spread that word. Funny how that works. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a fuck ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, My biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.